Alright, you lot. You ever sit down, pad in hand, boot up your favourite game and within 3 fucking minutes you're being lectured by a fictional NPC about carbon emissions, gender politics, or why their fictional oppression matters more than your real-life council tax going thermonuclear? Because I have, and I'm done pretending it's fine. Gaming used to be our sanctuary, not a soapbox. Used to be a battlefield of fantasy, not a classroom for ideological headlocks. And worst bit, most of you feel it, but rarely anyone says it. Because second you do, some arsehole with a pride flag and a communist bio is ready to call you a Nazi for not clapping when NPC says, I'm a queer dragonkin with PTSD. Like, subscribe and all that bollocks. Not because I want to be famous, fuck that, but because this kind of honesty gets buried faster than your KD when your aim assist is turned off. Back in day, gaming wasn't about who you were outside a headset. It were about name floating above Avatar's head and whether you were good with it. Didn't matter if you were a scrawny kid from Barnsley, board office worker in Tokyo, or some yank screaming into a tinny mic at 3 AM. Once you hit connect, you were in. No politics, no posturing, just who's got better aim, who's got quicker fingers, and who's buying pizza if we win raid. That were it. LAN parties with Cathedral, smelly basements, CRT monitors burning your eyes out, energy drinks tasting like battery acid, and cables taped to the floor like a budget bomb squad had been in. And you know what? Nobody asked what you voted, who you prayed to, or if you fancied lads or lasses. You could have been sat there in a pink tutu playing Quake with your bollocks out, and only thing anyone cared about was whether you could rocket jump without blowing yourself up. Compare that to today. That character select screen feels like a bloody census. Every choice is a statement, every skin's a headline, and every update feels like a press release written by a sociology professor on ketamine. Gaming were never meant to be a TED Talk. It were meant to be that one place where the world couldn't crawl in with its rules and reckonings. Back then gaming were right as rain. Now it feels like you're standing outside in a downpour while some knobhead tells you to clap, cause at least rain's inclusive. And it's kicker, we were united once. Not cause we agreed on everything, but cause none of it mattered once game loaded. That's part modern mob have forgotten. Here's where it all went tits up. One day you're grinding XP, next your game feels like it's been written by a university seminar on oppression studies. Dev blogs stopped talking about patch notes and frame rates and started reading like bloody manifestos. Suddenly every update is a paragraph explaining why your space marine has to lecture you about sustainable farming before firing a plasma rifle. And it wasn't gradual, it was surgical. Marketing teams realised outrage pays better than polish, so they started stitching agendas into places no one asked for. Look at half at AAA cutscenes now. It's not world building, it's world preaching. You're no longer immersed in game. You're trapped in a lecture hall wearing surround sound headphones. And don't get me started on influencers. Every other sod with a capture card decided they're not just playing game, they're guiding society. Watch a new release stream and half at chats arguing about whether the protagonist's haircut is problematic. For fuck's sake, it's pixels with a collision box, not Magna Carta. This is what I mean when I say escape has been hijacked. They kicked doors down, spray painted slogans of at walls, and told us to say thank you for privilege. Well no, sunshine. Gaming with freedom, gaming don't come with a script. But it's a bit of pill nobody likes to swallow. Both sides are to blame. Every single bastard that dragged politics into gaming deserves kicking bollocks with steel toe boots. On far left, you got devs chasing brownie points, swapping out gameplay fixes for diversity checklists. They'll delay a patch 3 months to make sure NPC bartender has an authentic backstory about being a gender fluid beekeeper, but won't fix servers that crash every Saturday. They wrap it up as progress, but really, it's marketing wrapped in a rainbow flag. Then you swing far right, and it's just as daft. Some lad sees a black woman with a gun and a brand new IP and instantly screams, "Woke agenda!" like he's uncovered bloody Da Vinci Code. Mate, she's just a protagonist. It's a story. Not everything's a plot to raise you personally. Screaming about it makes you sound as useful as a chocolate fucking teapot. And then there's pearl-clutching crusaders outside industry altogether, like that collective soul mob, a group of Aussie old cronies who decided to play moral police by targeting payment processors. They made sure some games couldn't even be bought. Poof, devs' livelihoods gone in a flash. Imagine pouring your soul into a game only to have your income strangled cause a group of keyboard Karens wanted to feel righteous for a week. They picked gaming cause it were an easy headline, but I'd pay money to see them try the same stunt with porn industry. They'd be chewed up and spat out faster than a kebab on West Street at 2 AM. This ain't inclusivity, This ain't protection, it's opportunism and overreaction, and it's killing very thing we all came here for. Fun. It's truth, and it stings worse than a bastard wasp in your pound. Gamers aren't pissed cause they saw a poster in the game with wrong slogan. They're pissed cause everything else is broken, and then you dump politics on top like gravy on cold chips. We're dealing with games shipping unfinished, 80 gig day one patches, battle passes shoved in your face like a Jehovah's Witness at door, loot boxes rigged tighter than a fruit machine, and servers that collapse if 3 people log in at once. Adding telemetry sniffing through your hard drive like a nosy neighbour, shadow bans for jokes out of context, and early access scams that never see light of day, that's daily reality. Now imagine putting up with all that, and then dead stock trailer halfway through to tell you how brave they are for adding bisexual NPC to hand your ammo. Nobody cares, mate. You want a medal for writing dialogue? Meanwhile, AI Pathfinder's so broken, enemies are walking into walls like daft lads at last orders. This is why gamers snap. It's not politics alone, it's insult to being lectured by people who can't even deliver a working game. It's like being sold a knackered Ford Fiesta and being told to clap cause ornonks in 6 languages. Fix bloody engine first. We didn't come here for sermons, we came here for fun. If fun's offensive now, then what hell are we even doing? And this is where all mess comes down to one sharp edge: identity versus immersion. Cause here's the thing, when you build your own character, it's your identity. That's magic. That's immersion. Don't matter if you're a 7-foot green alien in fishnets or a bloke who looks like he's just clocked off at Greg's. You made it. It's yours. Nobody else's. But second devs start forcing identity into script, immersion dies. You can feel it. Suddenly you're not in story anymore. You're watching someone's agenda play out like an amateur theatre production. You're not lost in world. You sat there wondering which checkbox they're ticking next. That's not inclusivity, that's intrusion. Cruel irony is that in old days, you could create the most unhinged avatar imaginable and nobody cared. A black guy priest in a clan robe, dual-wielding dildo swords, riding a unicorn made of sausages. That was just another Tuesday in Gary's mod. People would laugh, maybe call you daft as a brush, then move on. Nobody wrote think pieces about it. Nobody demanded your digital unicorn have a political manifesto attached. It was just your mad little creation, living in a world where everyone else has mad little creations. That's what made gaming untouchable. Immersion's fragile. Break it once and you lose spell. That's why gamers get so pissed when politics barge in uninvited. Cause second message takes priority over medium. Magic's gone. And if there's no magic, what's left? Just another lecture with a graphics card. Here's a bit no one talks about, because it don't fit hashtags. Forgotten majority. Out of 3.6 billion gamers, loud extremes on both sides, and maybe a few million tops. And yet they're once clogging feed like a fatberg in sewer. Resters? All different, but when we sit down to play, we're one thing only: gamers. And yet our voices don't trend. Why? Because we're not screaming, we're not cancelling, we're not spamming hashtags like a bot farm on Red Bull. We just want peace in pixels. But mobs on both sides hijack narrative. Now if you don't plant your flag, they plant one for you. You're either a woke sellout or a far-right nutjob, depending on which clown throws first pie. Meanwhile, vast majority of us are stood in middle like mugs, watching 2 wasps fight over a pork pie at a vegan picnic. It's embarrassing. It's not what gaming were built for. And this silent majority, ones who never asked for this circus, we're real power. We're ones spending money, keeping servers alive, writing mods, filling lobbies. Because we don't froth at mouth for clout, we're ignored. Imagine that. Billions strong, yet sidelined by a handful of loud arseholes. That's greatest tragedy. Not mob itself, but that we've let them dictate story of gaming. And longer we sit quiet, more they rewrite it. This is where we stop sitting quiet and start spitting teeth. Because if gaming taught us alt, it's that no matter class, no matter build, no matter how many times you get spawn camped, you don't quit match. You regroup, you adapt, you come back swinging. I'm not talking violence, I'm talking unity. I'm talking every gamer, casual or hardcore, console or PC, standing on same bloody respawn point and saying enough. We don't need your lectures. We don't need your manifestos. We don't need every patch note to read like UN resolution. We need games that work, that entertain, that pull us out of this godforsaken real world for a few hours apiece. That's all. That's after it. Because when we were united, nobody could touch us. We were the largest culture on earth. Bigger than film, bigger than music, bigger than sport. We still are. But we've let ourselves be divided by noise. And noise is all it is. Extremists, pundits, influencers playing profit. They're loud, aye, but they're small. They're fleas on a dog that don't even realise how massive it is. It's time we remembered. It's time we reclaim what's ours. Gaming belongs to gamers, not to activists, not to marketers, not to corporations writing diversity statements while they crunch devs to ground. To us, to you, to me, to every sod who's ever skipped sleep for one more round, one more raid, one more go. Goal's simple. Shut noise out. Back each other up. Keep world's bollocks out of your lobbies. Because united, we're unstoppable. Divided, we're just another circus act for people who never gave a toss about games in first place. And that's where we're at. Gaming. One pure escape we had. One place where none of real world bollocks mattered. Now dragged through mud by clout chasers and ideological twats who don't even pick up a controller. They've tried to divide us, label us, lecture us, but it's truth they'll never swallow. We were united once, and we can be again. Date gamers remember what really matters, it's overfuck mobs. Because you can't cancel billions, you can't shame people who don't care about your hashtags, and you can't own community that were built on chaos, laughter and freedom. That's ours. Always has been, always will be. So yeah, world outside is on fire. Politicians are stabbing each other in back. Social media's a sewer and some daft bastards are cheering on death like it's sport. But inside a game, inside that lobby, that's where we can still tell them to sling the hook. That's where we rebuild. That's where we remember we're one thing only. Gamers. Join Discord, follow on X, links are in description. Consider a channel membership if you want to keep me off streets. Smash like it, subscribe, drop your comments and questions below if you still got balls. And I'll see you next time, you magnificent.